Greetings, YouTube. Happy Tuesday. As I continue to count votes for the next stage of progression for my roster, I want to thank everybody who sent me private messages on the Line app or commented on the YouTube video. It's a big decision to spend what I've been waiting to spend since November of 2018, my generic 5-star Awakening gem, and just in general, all of my Tier 2 Alpha, Catalyst, etc. But regardless of the decision I make, it really is a no-brainer considering how much I grind in the arena, and also that either Omega Red or Captain Marvel Movie Edition really do benefit from having maxed suicides from everything that everyone has sent my way that have a max suicide mastery. So I have tweaked my mastery again. I didn't touch my mastery for like 6 months, and that's why there was no video. In the past 2 weeks, I've tweaked it 3 times, and I make a promise that every time I tweak my masteries, I will do a video explaining my thought process, because there are people who will search out my profile and they'll see the PI of my champions and they'll say, gosh, I'm level 60. Why is the PI of his champions 2,000 to 3,000 higher per champ than mine? And I really like to do what Prof does. I grind the 5-star featured arena, and I want as many points as possible, because the more points you get, the higher the PI of your champions, the less time you have to spend grinding for milestones. And that is a win for everybody. So I just want to show you, first of all, where the PI of my champions is at, because it is by far the highest it has ever been. I would use a 30% plus greater champion boost back in the day, and it would not get this high. And so this is what my champions are right now. No boosts whatsoever, just by mastery setup. What I've done is kind of a Prof Hoff hybrid build of the best masteries for PI outside of the suicide masteries combined with suicide masteries. And what's interesting is that it really jumped my 6-star Corvus 1,600 points to now, I think he went from like my 8th best champ to my 5th best champ. Captain America Infinity War jumped to my 4th best champ, and then the OG Holy Trinity is still sitting pretty dang good in the top 3. But if I take up Captain Sparkles to SIG 200, I could have a new top champion, and everyone will have to slide down a spot. My identical twin, Prof Box, asked me last night, because he knew for years the only champion I had on my team that was reliable was Star-Lord, by far the best champion and the highest rated, my only rank 4 5-star. I have progressed so much on my account that Star-Lord is now sitting as my 25th best champ in terms of PI, and used to be by far my first. So it's just amazing how fast you can progress in this game with a lot of luck and hard work and or addiction to arena. Okay, so let's talk about the mastery setup, because it has changed and I have tweaked a few pretty important things. The first thing you'll notice if you look at this is that I actually don't have, for the first time ever, precision maxed. I have talked to several people, and I do believe that Brian Grant deserves the credit on this. He's the brain trust behind this experiment, that have said, Prof, the PI really isn't that big of a deal, and the critical rating increase between 4 and 5 for precision is also really not that big of a deal. So I just saved myself a mastery point and kept it at 4. I also added 1 out of 3 in courage. Now, somebody like my good friend Pep 1000, who did help inspire me to make this change, so Pep, thank you. He has courage maxed out. Now, I believe the 2nd and 3rd mastery points of courage are worth 0 in terms of PI. So I am a fan of just doing 1 in courage. I think it's not as broken as it used to be. And if you do 1 out of 3, it does help pretty dang good in terms of a PI increase for your champs. But that also means I have taken Despair down to 1. I really don't use my 565 Void 95% of the time. And that was the main reason for having it maxed to 3 out of 3. I simply could use those 2 points to awaken and unlock that poison suicide mastery potential and have all of my champions benefit more than just a few with Despair. So I took that down to 1, but I did keep Deep Wounds and Assassin where they were before, 3 out of 5 and 2 out of 5 respectfully. It's really funny. I looked at my units and thought, well, I'm about to dump all the units I have to max out Liquid Courage. I don't remember doing this. I don't know when I did this. You know you've been playing a game too long when you've been tweaking with your mastery setup so long that you don't remember when you bought certain masteries or tweaking. But I already had Liquid Courage basically unlocked. I just needed to pay the few units to take it up. So now you can see I've got that full suicide mastery of full glass cannon, full liquid courage, and full double edge. And let me tell you, my goodness, is it fun. Corvus is beyond a cheat code with this. I am not even good with Ghost, and she's a cheat code. And I think, man, if I was really good playing with her, that rank 2 6-star, I know she's unawakened, but still, people would just be salivating that are incredible with a 4-star Ghost. And so this mastery build is also inspiring me to try to get better with Ghost and to continue to just excel, especially in Alliance Quest with Corvus. Now, defensively, I have also kept it the same because for PI purposes, and I think I've seen a lot of quote-unquote in-game players who will expand their mastery to energy resistance and even physical resistance, but for PI purposes and because I am a parry-heavy individual, I like to keep block proficiency at 4 out of 4. It's the only mastery setup points that really don't benefit as much. Like if I put a couple of those, say, in Assassin, my PI would go up, but I need those points to have enough to unlock willpower. And so that is the idea. And willpower, along with the max suicide mastery, it's really interesting. Between that and still having salve maxed out, which is kind of also a little bit controversial because a lot of people say you only need 1 out of 3. And while that can be true, having the passive recover of 4 twice per second really does mean that most of the time, once my champs stop bleeding and it's just that constant poison, they're either not really losing health or in a couple cases they're actually gaining a little bit of health, which I thought was only going to be possible if I awakened and maxed coagulate. So that's pretty cool, and that's good data for me to pass on to you, the viewer. And then proficiencies I have also kept the same. There has been some discussion behind the scenes between some of my friends about whether or not I even really need those 1 points in Petrify and 1 points in Pacify. Some people don't do that. In fact, some people have such a small proficiencies mastery that they'll max out parry, they'll max out stupefy, and then they'll just have 1 in Dex and 1 in Limber. But for me, I think this is pretty good, and it certainly is something that I have enjoyed. And so I say this phrase quite often: if it's not broken, don't fix it. So proficiencies and defense are certainly not as high on my priority list as they are for quite a few summoners. But in my mind, when you're going up against really, really tough content, if you get hit by a 5-hit combo, especially if you're in a place like Labyrinth, you should expect to be dead anyway. So my thinking is, if I get hit, I deserve to die. I know that sounds kind of extreme, but because of that, I always plan on between parry and dexterity and maybe holding block and baiting heavies, whether that be against Iron Man Infinity War or somebody like MODOK, etc. I just don't ever want to get hit. And if you don't ever get hit and you have parry and even block proficiency maxed, then you're not going to lose that much health even if you have maxed suicides. Now, I also want to remind you, because I do have the benefit that a lot of people don't, and that's I have a amazing alliance that only runs 1 BG of war, and I have refused to be in that BG, and they're perfectly cool with that. And so for over 2 months now, I have not participated in an alliance war. I have never had more fun playing this game than doing a combination of bumping up my masteries to make the PI of my champs as high as possible, with the encouragement and understanding of my alliance leader and officers to do that. It's just a perfect situation for me, and I think it's a perfect situation for a lot of people, which is why we have such a long waiting list to get into this alliance. And I really do feel like I was Charlie Bucket getting that golden ticket when I was invited in here. And as I tell my alliance every day, I'm so thankful to be here. So shout out to AOA. Again, it is just a great place to be, and I can't say anything else because sometimes words do not do the experience justice. So if you're looking to replicate this mastery setup, I would start building toward the future. Keep in mind that a lot of these masteries take a ton of units to unlock, particularly the far right trees of this top right and this bottom left. I will say, of course, that it annoys me that after maxing out Deep Wounds and Assassin, which took a ton of units, and even I purchased a couple of those really rare mastery deals that give you like half off or 70% off what the cores normally are. I ranked them down. And so I'm just throwing those units away at this point because unless I change my mastery setup to get them back up to max, I'll never do it again. And therefore, I never needed to unlock them to have that benefit. So kind of humbling when you just think about throwing units out the window, but I guess that's kind of the same thing that you do when you buy, say, featured Cavalier crystals and you get 3 stars. You just don't have as much to show for it because at least a 3-star champion, if it's a new especially, is in your roster. So there you have it, YouTube. This is what my PI looks like for my champions in the arena. It makes me very happy. 16,000 and 15,000. Even my rank 3 5 stars are at an insanely high PI. So many of them jumped to 4,000. Even Ebony Coleslaw right here is at 4,600. So thank you for your feedback. Special shout out to Pep for giving me the encouragement. I just wanted to say that I'll continue to update you, but I anticipate that this will be the last time I touch my mastery setup for months. And if I do, I'll let you know. But until then, really this video is most important to me because when people ask me, Prof, can you send me your mastery setup? I don't want to take the time to do 3 separate screenshots and take up the data on the phone and send it to you. I'd rather just say, hey, I made a video about it. Just search Prof Hoff mastery setup. You're good to go. Have a good day, YouTube. Thanks for watching.